Hey everyone, it is Tanya. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new here. Today I'm doing an apartment renovation of 131021 Chic Street in the fashion district of San Myshuno, and this is going to be a 2-bedroom apartment for a couple of roommates who are really into movies and theater, maybe want to work in that field. And I thought that was pretty realistic being in an apartment in San Myshuno because I highly associate this world with New York City. I know it's based on a few different areas, and more so the Spice District is more closely related to New York City, but I still thought it was a fun idea to do something movie inspired because we have so many like movie props and movie posters and things like that in the game, and I feel like I don't use them that often in my builds. So that is what we were going to be doing here today. Also, this apartment is definitely more industrial in style. I sort of combined the idea of a lot of industrial elements with this love of movies. So I think it's an interesting take and an interesting combination. Industrial is one of my favorite styles. I love using these base game cabinets. They are just so pretty with the butcher block top. And I did end up using these curtains from the newest kit as well. I really, really like them. So just using those here and trying to figure out a general color scheme. I do end up using a lot of black, brown, and gray, which tends to be what I go to for both industrial and modern. And since this is sort of a mixture for the two, it made sense. But there's some other colors in here as well, since this is going to be for some Sims who just really love movies. So there's a variety of different posters and props and things throughout this apartment, and I think it looks really cool in the end. Right here, I decided to have this sort of island piece by using this side table from I think that's from the fitness stuff pack. I ended up grabbing a second one of those later and kind of putting them back to back to make it a little bit wider and moving the bathroom door over slightly. I think it looks so cool. It's not going to be functional for your Sims to actually eat at it, but for the bar stool that I end up having out, you can still sit at the bar stool. They're just not going to use the table to put their food on. And then one of them is more tucked under the table, so you're not really going to be able to sit at that one. But over here in the kitchen, I thought it would be cool to have some open shelving to have like plates and cups and coffee in. And so I'm using this really cool shelf piece from the Journey to Batu pack. I feel like it just fit really nicely with the style of this kitchen. And the cabinets I'm using in here are actually from Jungle Adventure. They're not the matching ones to these counters because I don't like the matching ones to these counters. And I thought it was nice to have a couple of different wood tones in here. And then I also hung up some pots and pans from the Horse Ranch pack. And of course, this brand new plant, I love her. She's going to be going in so many builds in the future, so I had to include that here. And then just playing around with the tiles in the kitchen because I really wasn't sure what I wanted in that space. And then I ended up going with this couch from Snowy Escape, which is kind of like a futon. I feel like I never used this piece, but I thought it looked so nice here, especially now that we have decorative cushions. So I ended up just decorating this with a few different cushions from the newest kit, and I feel like that just really made me enjoy this piece, and I feel like I'm going to be getting a lot more use out of a variety of the couches in the game now that we have the ability to add cushions to them. I feel like that just completely revitalized a bunch of the catalog. But here I'm just adding some more movie posters around. We have them from base game, we have them from Get Famous, there's some from the movie pack. There might be more that I'm not even thinking of right now. There's just a ton of movie posters in the game. So I did try to have a variety of them, and I'm also just moving around this living room trying to figure out the best orientation for it. And this is how it ends up working the best. Also, I do want to mention I did playtest this build. I was a little concerned your Sims were not going to be able to walk through the living room area or go into the doors to the bedrooms because they're on an angle in a archway. I always playtest my builds for anything that I think is not going to work. I know sometimes that doesn't transfer over to the gallery for one reason or another, which is really frustrating. So I apologize for that if you ever download my builds and they don't work, but I do playtest them before I upload them. It's just really frustrating that the gallery is like that. But over here, I'm adding some of these bigger movie posters and this really cool sign up above the TV that you might see at a theater. I thought that was such a fun addition. I did have to scale it down to put it there, but I love how this space came out. I ended up getting a remote control up here. And later on, it just kind of disappears. It deleted itself, so it's not going to be there in the final version, unfortunately, because I already uploaded this. But for some reason, it did that. I also did end up getting a little ottoman over here under the movie posters, which I thought was so cute, like some extra seating, especially adding some cushions on it. I thought that was realistic and really pretty. I was really happy with how this area came out. It's very small. It's very squished. This is a very small apartment, but it does work. It's functional and it looks adorable. So I was quite happy with it. Also, the table I'm using as a coffee table is like a new side table that we got when Infants came out. It's in base game, but I think it works really nice as a simple coffee table. So that's what we're using it as here. And then I think I get a plant over in the corner. At least I want to say I did. Yeah, I did. Okay. I got the hanging plant. This is my favorite plant in the game, probably. I have a few that are favorites, but that's like in almost every build. So it had to be over there. And then I'm adding this arrow sign that came with the bowling pack. I think it's really pretty. But here is that table I had mentioned where I kind of duplicated it so that there's two of them, so that it kind of wraps around a little bit more. It's sort of like a built-in table, which I thought was really fun. And I got a couple of decorations up here. We got a plant and some books. And the other items on there, I just have randomly placed. For a very long time, I forgot about them. But we will come back and actually sort of place those more intentionally a little bit later. But first, I wanted to fill in this space by the front door, and I decided to get a clock. I actually ended up using this one, which I think is from Get Together. I think the swatch on it is really pretty, and we just got some stems over here as well to fill in that space. And now we are back in the kitchen getting some aprons, and I believe I get another movie poster. I have them absolutely everywhere in this build. Because why not? If that's the whole concept of the build and I don't get to use these that often, I thought it would be kind of fun. So that is the poster I ended up choosing in here. And I also wanted to get a chalkboard. I ended up putting that on the counter instead and layering a cutting board behind it. Instead of having two cutting boards, I have a chalkboard and a cutting board. I thought that was kind of fun. I did have to use the tool mod ever so slightly to move that forward though. So that way the cutting board would not be clipping over the chalk portion because it was thicker than the chalkboard, but thinner than the frame. So it just looked really weird. But yeah, just adding some utensils in the kitchen. And now we're working on this space where I put this arrow. This can be a desk area, like a little office nook. And at first I thought I would put this director's chair over at the desk. But then I decided that would be a really cool piece to put as just a chair into the living room. Obviously, it's not going to be as comfortable as the recliner I had there originally, but it fit the theme so well, I just really felt like I needed to include it. And then I got some more movie posters and some decor over on this desk. And pretty soon, I'm going to start pulling out, this is when this starts, pull out a bunch of items from Journey to Batuu because I was like, okay, these Sims really love movies. And I was thinking one of them was really into Star Wars because why not? We have so many of these items in the game. So I start just like chucking stuff into the other room and I have a couple of pieces out here. So I have a BB unit and a couple of other things. And I actually end up having pretty much a full size R2D2 in one of the bedrooms, which I thought was quite fun. I don't use the Star Wars stuff that often because generally speaking, I don't want it in my Sims game, but I am a Star Wars fan in real life. And I have lightsabers like hanging in my living room, like mounted on the wall. A couple of years ago, me and my boyfriend did the create your own lightsaber thing at Disney World. So those are on display in our living room. So I thought it was kind of realistic to have one of these Sims be pretty into that and have some of the collectibles. I thought it was quite fun. But this is the bathroom. It's pretty much done now. It has one movie poster that matches the color scheme in there. I thought that was so cute with the cow plant. And then I'm trying to figure out which beds I want in these rooms. And it does take me a little while to figure out how I want to decorate these, because I liked the idea of using this new bed from the kit, but it also felt like it didn't match the rest of the apartment somehow. But we get there in the end. I was very happy with the end result. It just took a while. But this is the first room that we end up decorating, which is for the Sim that really loves Star Wars, as you can see by the R2D2 that's in the corner. I'm going to be moving him ever so slightly because I'm going to be putting a shelving unit there to put all sorts of collectibles on, primarily Star Wars. But I had a lot of fun with that. I feel like I don't build apartments or homes very often for Sims that collect a lot of things, which is interesting because I'm very much a collector. If you've ever seen my videos that have face cam in them, I have a wall of Squishmallows behind me, and my whole living room is full of all kinds of like various collections. I have a lot of geeky collections, but I don't do this in the game very often. So I feel like it'd be something fun to do sometime soon, but I'm not sure what else we could do without getting custom content, because obviously we have the Star Wars pack, so I was able to use that in here, but we don't really have Squishmallows in the game or like a ton of stuffed animals. So I'm not sure what other collectibles we could do. I guess like the ones that are in the game, there's like the Simmies and My Sims dolls and all of that. I guess we could do that. Let me know if that's something you would like to see. And also if you can hear the toys in the background, my kitten is playing, which is fine by me because before she was just biting my arm and attacking the microphone. So I guess a little bit of that in the background isn't as distracting as the microphone being like bit. But still, apologies if that is annoying at all. But these are the posters I used in this room. I think they're really pretty. It's a combination of a couple from Snowy Escape as well as some from the Werewolves pack. And I also grabbed a couple of posters over here. This one's from Get Famous. I also got this prop up here, which is also from Get Famous, which I thought was a cool piece to include. And then there is like a freeze ray in here, which I thought was so cool, like a framed prop from one of the movies. And I believe I just get a couple more posters up top as well, sort of having this gallery wall of all sorts of movie memorabilia. Just moving the dresser over and getting a plant in the corner, and then we should be moving on into the other bedroom where I have more like romance looking posters. I end up having these ones from the movie pack. There's one related to diamonds and one that has a couple kissing, and the colors are darker in here. I end up changing the curtains to black, and I just play around with what sort of colors I want to have in this space. The sim is not as into Star Wars as the other sim, but I figured these two were probably pretty good friends. They live together and have similar interests, so I thought it was kind of a fun idea to make these slightly different, but you can see how they get along quite well. So we have a bedside table, which is actually a full-on dresser. I put a couple of decorations up there, not too many, and I love the black swatch on this bed. And I also gave them a bunch of costumes on this rack over here. This is from Get Famous as well for the acting career. I thought it would be kind of fun that maybe the sim does more theater and the other sim is more just like super Star Wars fan. So that's what I did over here. I just got a couple more decorations up in front of this TV as we had space here. So I thought that was a good use of the area for them to like watch TV in bed. So I got some magazines and a little plant, and then up on the dresser I just got some makeup and stuff, both from Parenthood and the Everyday Clutter Kit. And that should be pretty much it for this apartment. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. You can also subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more, and if you click that bell, it'll turn on notifications to be notified of every single time I upload a new video. Thank you so very much for watching. Enjoy those screenshots, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, everyone.